It started on a rainy Thursday afternoon, the kind where the sky hangs low and everything feels a little heavier. I was folding laundry in the living room, the scent of fresh fabric softener in the air, when my phone buzzed with a message from Caleb, my husband's best friend since college. "Hey Lauren, are you home? Can I swing by for a bit?" The text read. Caleb never really texted me directly unless it was something important. Normally, everything went through my husband, Brian. So I paused, surprised, and quickly replied, "Yeah, sure. Everything okay?" "Kind of. I'll explain when I get there," he responded. 15 minutes later, there was a knock at the door. Caleb stood there, soaked from the rain, his dark jacket clinging to him and his expression unreadable. I let him in and handed him a towel. "You look like you walked through a hurricane," I said with a slight smile. He gave a small chuckle, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Feels like I did," he said as he sat down on the couch. I poured him a cup of coffee while he dried off. The silence between us was thick, and I could tell whatever he needed to say wasn't easy. "Brian's not home?" he asked. "No, he's at work till late tonight. You want to talk about something?" Caleb sighed deeply. "Yeah. It's not easy." But I didn't know who else to ask. I sat down across from him, giving him my full attention. He looked at me, uncertain. "You know I've been taking care of my mom since she got sick last year. It's been getting worse. Early stages of dementia, and now she needs more help than I can give alone. I need to put her in an assisted living place, but the process is overwhelming. There's paperwork, health evaluations, financial stuff. I tried getting a caregiver to come help for a few hours a day, but she refuses anyone who's not family." I nodded, absorbing it. "That sounds incredibly tough. I'm so sorry." He looked up. "Lauren, she knows you. She likes you. You came with Brian that time to her house for Christmas, remember? She still talks about that day." I nodded again, beginning to understand where this was going. "I was wondering if you'd help. Just a few days a week. Talk to her. Help her with her medications. Maybe even convince her to let someone else assist later. You're good with people. She trusts you." I was silent for a moment. It wasn't a small favor. It meant time, energy, emotional labor. But the way Caleb looked, tired, desperate, and completely out of options, I couldn't say no. "Okay," I said softly. "I'll help." The relief that washed over his face was instant. He leaned forward, gripping my hand. "Thank you, Lauren." I didn't know who else to turn to. The next day, I drove with Caleb to his mother's small house in the suburbs. The place had the charm of an older home, cozy and filled with personal touches. His mom, Evelyn, sat by the window, looking out at the garden. "Mom," Caleb said gently, "Lauren's here." Her face lit up when she saw me. "Oh, Lauren. What a lovely surprise." We talked for hours. I let her lead the conversation, asking questions about her flowers, her favorite shows, even old memories from when she was young. It was easier than I expected. She responded well to my presence, and I could see the gratitude in Caleb's eyes. The days became a routine. I would stop by a few times a week, bring her lunch, help her organize medications, and gently encourage her to let others help too. Slowly, she became more open to the idea. One evening, after a particularly long visit, Caleb and I sat on his porch with 2 mugs of tea. "You're incredible," he said quietly. "I don't think I could have gotten her this far without you." I smiled. "She's sweet. She just needed someone to listen." "I never really told you this," he said, his voice low, "but Brian's lucky. You're more than just kind, you're strong." The compliment caught me off guard. "Thanks," I said, looking down at my tea. He cleared his throat. "Sorry. I didn't mean to make it weird." "It's not weird," I said quickly. "I'm just glad I could help." Weeks passed. Evelyn was officially on a wait list for a facility that suited her needs. She had finally agreed, thanks to our conversations and her trust in me. Caleb seemed lighter, though the emotional toll of the transition was still heavy. One day, as we walked together after leaving the facility paperwork with the coordinator, he stopped me outside. "I owe you more than I can say," he said. "You don't owe me anything," I replied. "I do. And I need to tell you something else, something I've kept to myself for a long time." I looked at him, heart thumping a little faster. "I think I started falling for you the day you walked into Evelyn's house that Christmas. The way you made her laugh, the way you looked at Brian. I envied him." I froze. The words hung in the air between us, charged and real. "Caleb," I began. "I know. It's not fair. I never acted on it. I would never disrespect you or Brian. But I needed you to know. Because I think part of me asked for your help not just for Mom, but because I missed being around you." I didn't know what to say. My loyalty to Brian was unshakable, but I couldn't deny I had grown close to Caleb through this. We had shared vulnerable moments, laughter, frustration, even tears. But I also knew that some connections are meant to remain unspoken. I stepped closer and took his hand. "You're a good man, Caleb. And I'm honored you trust me with this. But we can't cross that line." He nodded, though his eyes were glassy. "I know. I just needed you to hear it." We stayed like that for a moment before I stepped back. "Let's focus on your mom. She's the reason we started this. She needs us." He gave a tight smile. "Yeah, you're right." Time moved on. Evelyn settled into her new home, and Caleb found his peace slowly but surely. We stayed friends, a bit more distant than before, perhaps, but always respectful. Brian never knew the full extent of those conversations, and maybe it was better that way. Sometimes life throws complicated feelings at you, hidden beneath the surface of doing something good. But in the end, what mattered most was that someone needed help, and I said yes. And that choice, despite everything, changed all our lives for the better.